Welcome to Blue Water League. Tonight's bout is a frosty slugfest as Glacial Esports Black steps into the ring against final boss Shorkies. Hopefully I said that right. Two squads, one rift, and only one can walk away standing. I'm your host for the evening, Korak, and he is Kimchi on the color, and this is Blue Water. Welcome, everyone.
Ooh, fancy. Better than the ones we have usually. We had a special one for finals yesterday, if you guys caught the Premier League finals, but we've already started the other seasons. I guess pushing back Premier finals by 2 weeks does that to people, but Masters week 2, both of these teams undefeated. It was a 2-1 for the Shorkies last week. It was a 2-0 for Glacial Esports Black, so potentially heavy hitters. It's only 1 week, so you never
Hard
know.
to tell. A little bit skewed data. Still,
2-0 is a good start.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a fantastic start to week number 1, and hopefully they can continue that into week number 2. But I'm actually hoping for a best of 3. I'm not as big of a fan of 2-0s, unless I've just got like really important things to do. But I think this should be set up quite nicely between both Final Boss and Glacial Esports. I'm excited to see what they're going to get at, and I've been looking at their U.GGs, and so far there seems to be a pretty good mix. For those of you watching here, keep in mind this is going to be right around the master skill level, so it's Blue Water's Masters League going forward. It should be fearless. I don't think that's changed anything whatsoever. And it looks like we're finally getting into draft with a couple of bands already down on the draft.
Ooh, I like weird mix of like meta and it's kind of solo queue-ish. You get the Kindred, you get your Trinimirs, but then you get your Rek'Sais in his ears as Jarvan is insta-slammed. Okay, and Bard hover in response is very interesting from Final Boss Shorkies. And that's okay. Bard lock is very interesting as well.
I mean, it's definitely past a hover for sure, going from that into Rise. So at least from what I can tell, we're going for a bit of a hands diff on the side of Final Boss, trying to live up to their name. Both Bard and Rise definitely like their hands. Of course, there's better champions for them as well, but those are still two pretty large ones. And then to go into Jarvan, that's not a real surprise. The Orianna getting hovered, probably going to get locked in because they already have such a great ball delivery system, Kimchi.
Already, this is like probably one of the most popular jungles of just this year alone, if not even further back, since Jarvan has returned to meta after his mandatory hiatus. Of course, everyone has them except for like Cassante. Please make him have a mandatory hiatus. As
please,
Karma, to match the Bard, they're gonna go answer the Bard's poke with a lot of poke.
And I think that's nice too. There's not too many people who can keep up with. Oh, wait, okay, maybe not a lock-in. I think they're bait and switching us. Okay. None of the above, Kimchi. We're locking in Nautilus.
Nautilus. It's weird to see the Nautilus locked in without the ADC. Usually, you want to get that locked in an instant Wukong slam. It took 5 games to get to the Wukong during Premier Finals. It takes exactly 6 picks to get in there, and it's probably the most played jungle matchup. Jarvan Wukong. We're totally not tired of seeing it.
I'm pretty excited for it, at least for the diversity that we get. I know it's definitely like tried and true, and you see this combination over and over and over. But I think the armor shred adds a different dynamic. I think anytime you have a decent amount of armor shred, it makes objectives like Autocon, all the harder to go for because you've got to worry about the flag and drag. You've got to worry about Wukong's armor shred. So it makes it extra spicy for sure, and both going into each other makes a lot of sense. Next couple of bands are coming out. Looks like it's going to be Mordekaiser and Rin for the top lanes for Final Boss, and Caitlyn, not really too surprised. She's really powerful right now, and waiting for the last one, Kimchi.
Glacial want not Renata. Oh my god, I saw one Renata. I'm losing it. They want Mbessa. Or Final Boss want it, actually. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Final Boss with that Renekton Mordekaiser ban. That's a pretty clear-cut sign you're either going for Sion or Mbessa, as Renekton's like one of the very few champions that counters it as Ashe. And we've broken. Thanks, Drafter. Yep. Oh, Mbessa. Yeah, what a surprise. Renekton banned away, and her main counter banned. Oh, weird that her main counter gets banned away right before the Shorkies lock her in. I can't imagine that good drafting exists, as Jax can contest her. It's not nothing's a great matchup into Mbessa besides Renekton, to be fair, but it's definitely one of the better ones.
Well, and I think sometimes when you're playing into Mbessa, maybe the goal is to just sort of get out of lane or outlast it. But you've got the Orns and the Scions to try to play into it. And none of the above. Once again, Kimchi going into Camille. All right.
This is definitely going to be a skill matchup. Camille, famous for her ability to just delete people with her triple Q or with the 3 auto resets. Oh, so great. You can dodge a lot of Mbessa's stuff. You can just leave whenever you want. And if you are really, really good at video games, you can actually buffer the public execution with the Hextech Ultimatum. It's not easy, but it takes some. You could do it. You just have to really be in melee range and get kind of lucky.
Absolutely, and we're going from that into Corki. So we've got Kaisa into Corki. I do think this makes a little bit of sense with the fact that we have Jarvan and we have Nautilus, but the biggest thing I have with Corki sort of overall is he very much so wants to close the gap. He wants to get in your face. And I guess there's a bit of distraction in the form of Assassins and maybe Bard to lock people down, but I feel like Corki is going to struggle just a bit into this, especially with the fact that there's a Nautilus on the map.
If you could juke, we'll see how it goes. The Nautilus should have made it very clear that Glacial wanted a Kaisa. That's like the Kaisa pairing right now. It's very telegraphed with the Caitlyn Ash band, 2 champions. Kaisa can't really get on top of as easily or escape from, as she just gets chunked down or slowed. Corki, it's too close. It's relatively short range. Corki does outrange Kaisa still, but just doesn't have the burst compared to her. I don't think the Shorkies should be opting into. They should be opting into extended trades because Kaisa generally will lose them because she has to rely on her very weak autos early. Bard Corki, that's a pretty good poke comp though into the full engage and short range of the Glacial Esports black bot lane.
Well, and looking at this from a team fight phase, I've been sort of going over this, and I think basically what we want to do here with Glacial is I think they want to get in there and press all their buttons immediately. They have a lot of people who don't want an insane amount of crazy engagements when it comes to a lot of the team fights, because for the most part, when Camille goes in, she blows her entire kit, and she gets in this sort of awkward stage where she's like, okay, what do I do now? Sure, I've got AA, but that's really about it, and and I've got to match the range, so it can be very hard to deal with. Kaisa's not necessarily the same way, but Kaisa definitely wants to get in there and just murder someone immediately, and that is a good combination with the flag and drag and the ball delivery system. Shockwave and Jarvan, classic combination, and there is stuff for them to pile up. So I think as long as Jarvan starts off, they should be fine, but I feel like Camille's got to be really, really careful and choosy with their engagements.
Definitely, there is a lot of engage, actually. That is kind of the one downside for the Shorkies, is their engage is either a Bard stun, an Mbessa ulti, or a Wukong ulti, and only 2 of those don't full send the person into the team. From my perspective, it's going to be both of these top laners fishing for some pretty nice some flanks, not ganks, those are for lanes, not team fights. And it's kind of just full dive. Like, Jarvan wants to get in the back. Camille wants to get in the back. Not probably wants to try and grab the Wukong or the Rise if he can. Mbessa Wukong definitely want to try and go deep and allow Corki and Rise to pretty safely put out this damage from mid-range. Yeah, you kind of put it there, though, on Glacial. Jarvan goes in, Orianna blows somebody up, and you hope you get that kill, because if you don't, then your Kai'Sa's in quite a bit of danger, and Nautilus is going to have to find something. The Camille gonna have to do quite a bit of lifting in these late team fights. As fancy, the transition distracts me. I don't know why. I'm very bad at that. Distractions. It's like babies with keys.
Absolutely. I feel the same sentiment. I get distracted too, which is why I have to lock my doors, because if I hear anything or if I see anything, in my peripheral, I'll immediately get distracted. And it's like, oh, right, I'm casting. So I'm definitely with you there. Easily distracted for sure. And when I'm looking at this, I think a lot of these fights, the more and more I look at it, the more and more I think about it, are going to depend pretty heavily on the supports. Sure, the engagements are going to be really important. The placement's going to be really, really important. But where Nautilus is going to be a good indicator on how the fights are going to go, because if Nautilus is able to hang around with Kaisa and simultaneously able to get a hook off and then double back, because just like you said, both Wukong and Mbessa want to go for those back line, and who is that back line? It is the Kaisa and it is the Orianna. So those are going to be the 2 MVPs for Nautilus to protect and for Nautilus to try to go in on as well. He's got to really set that up in a lot of different ways. And then the thing we've got to watch out for is, something you always got to watch out for, the tempered fate on Bard. That is so so
Oh
important. The
boy.
stuns on Bard, it's so important. And the thing about Bard, and the reason why he has such a high skill floor, in my opinion, is because you can use the ultimate to absolutely mess up your entire team fight. It's so easy for it to happen over and over, and I've seen it happen time and time again, even at this level.
I mean, we've seen it at all levels. We saw it during Worlds. We've seen some Bard ultis absolutely cost people some chase down. Right, yeah, right when your Galio lands a sick taunt, yeah, that's when you want to give the enemy time to run away with a nice
Mhm.
stasis. And I'm just imagining the cool things you could do if you stasis the Jarvan. I don't think you can stasis Camille during her ulti, but stasising that Jarvan Orianna combo could be really big, or stasising your team right before they get hit by it because it just forces out those spells. Or we could see some absolutely insane stasises onto some Mbessa ultimates where you just watch your Mbessa ulti and stand there because her target suddenly is untargetable. So yeah, skill floor, very Bard should have a lot of impact. That is also, ooh, I like that actually. I just realized Bard heavy roams, obviously that's kind of, you're forced to roam on him, so
Mhm.
you do need to know your roam timers. Nautilus very good at matching them because he loves getting active at level 3. He gets the hook, he gets the slows, he gets some sustain with the shields and auto resets. A little bit of damage depending on how cool you are at using your W. But these should be roam heavy, especially because these supports, or not supports, sorry, bot lanes are, these ADCs generally shouldn't be going for any crazy plays unless they find a really good angle in a 1v1. So it could be pretty safe for these supports to get active on the map nice and early, as they would like to do to maximize their not efficiency, but maximize their presence on the map, get everyone in a position to get ahead into the late game, hopefully.
Absolutely, but we can speculate till we are blue in the face, Kimchi. Right now, we've got a countdown for spectator delay. I'm waiting for Prod to say exactly how long we have left. So give us about a minute or so. We're going to go in a really quick break, about a minute and 30 seconds, hopefully to run just some of the tiny ads before the game actually starts off. But give us a few minutes. We'll be right back. I told you to be quick, and I was correct for sure. About a minute or second of ads. Wow, words are hard today. I'm having a stroke. Do you smell burnt toast, Kimchi?
Words are always hard for me. Don't worry. I usually say it every time I mess up. So you'll notice very quickly when I when I reference how hard words are.
Absolutely. Starting off, and something I've got a note here is we've got the Rise already in the mid lane, and I feel like I've gone back in time. I know I've said this like, maybe probably 2 or 3 times at this point, but for the longest time, Rise was just sort of, on his like massive hiatus or like really, really powerful for like 0.5 seconds and then nerfed into Oblivion. And now I've seen him all the way from like LTA. He's been all over the place, and he's just making these constant visits back to the mid lane, which I'm super, super excited for. And I think this is the first time in sort of his history, at least that I can think of, to where he's just been sort of like decent instead of like really broken or is not a champion.
I was gonna say, I thought you meant it was the first time he's really had presence, and I'm like, oh boy, does everyone remember the Giga Rise top days where he had root on? He didn't even need another spell for it. He just rooted instantly, and then he would just. Oh. My cousin, his favorite story about League, because he played it way before I did, because he's a few years older than me. And he always went, my favorite thing about old Rise was just you would mash all the buttons and then ulti and get all your mana back and then go mash all your buttons again. And it's just like, man, that sounds like a great champion. Why do they make that champion? Make him again.
There's been quite a difference too, because I'm from the days where Cho'Gath's stacks would reset when you kill him, and when Soraka would give people mana, right? So it's definitely a different game going for that one. Starting off though, just like you said, there's a lot of really good poke down in the bot lane. This is kind of the thing I'm worried about here with Marshall into Lost, on the Mbessa and on the Camille, is Camille really wants to do these back and forward skirmishing trades, and that's kind of counterintuitive to what Camille wants to do, because Camille kind of just wants to go in there, blow all her buttons, and just absolutely murder someone. They care a lot less for a lot of this, but if they do have the hands, if they do have damage and get some sort of advantage, they can get it. But I think it's going to be an uphill battle, Kimchi.
Yeah, you said hands. Oh boy, if they have the hands, yeah, you better, because Mbessa is literally all hands. They decided to put the micro of an ADC on a melee champ, and it's kind of interesting. Like, it's very weird, but I kind of like it. But I also hate it because Drake on Step is very annoying. Like, oh my god, chasing Drake on Step makes me want to die.
I definitely agree with that notion, but I'd rather run into an Mbessa than a Cassante in the top lane. I equate him a lot of the times to Sylas.
Don't remind me.
Essentially, he's just a beefier Sylas for the top lane, is the way I feel about him, which is not really a good notion.
Ooh, that is going to be the kind of silver lining, and it's not a large silver lining, because even with the adaptive shield, you still just get absolutely shredded. You can see how Lost is still winning these trades even after the shield gets procced, just tearing through with these constant spell and auto resets. It's still on full energy because Mbessa's an energy champion. Because why not as another, just who cares? Just board chunks. Holy cow! Right.
Oh, no martial arts getting so close to going down, but they were prepping that for Jarvan to get a flag and drag off, but that's going to be a hard ass to go for. Even if they go in, flag and drag is good, but are they going to have the damage to lock down Lost? No, is it? They will not. They do get out.
They did just want to get this wave slightly reset.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to get a little breathing room to get Camille back out there, to get martial arts back out there, which we're seeing right now. CSing is still pretty close, about the same, and I think that's kind of what Camille wants, is she wants to get her gold and maybe roam, maybe get away from the Mbessa for a little bit, maybe pick up a kill or go for some of these objectives. So she, at this point, I think she just needs to last, unless she can get a very clear advantage. Fortnite into Paper. Paper completely out of mana. Rise trading back and forward quite nicely, and the poke and bottom still is continuing a lot of back and forward. No kills just quite yet. Hook lands on top of the Bard. Bard going down about half HP, but they don't have a crazy amount of follow-up for it, as once again mid continues to skirmish back and forward.
Rise Gaming. Sick nasty stun there. It didn't really mean anything. That stun means a lot though. Oh no, fails. Low. Both supports getting low.
Find a little bit of deal, as it looks like we're going to go once again for this skirmishing back and forward in the top lane. Camille really struggling, but at the very least she's been up on CS.
Yeah, the wave, she did have the wave in her favor when she got that push, or when they both reset, so did have a little bit of space closer to the turret to farm. Now is starting to push it back out, so we'll see if Lost wants to try and grab this wave control back in their favor, as that's a lot of damage. I feel like that's the constant thing with Mbessa. That's a lot of damage. Every trade I see from her.
Absolutely, and I feel like that's kind of the name of the game for Ambessa on Lost specifically, is just constantly a lot of damage. But now we're sitting about 5 minutes and 30 seconds, Kimchi, and it looks like we've got our first Drake up. It's going to be a Cloud Drake. I think that's going to be an important one for both sides, for roaming, for a lot of the things. That 2% increase in movement speed can do a whole bunch if I'm remembering those numbers correctly.
I did check. I think most of the Drakes are 2, 4, 6, 8 or some kind of clean increment, as ulti's available for these top laners. As we see, how the heck did Sly get out? Sly, when did you path up here? Actually, what?
I mean, wasn't the worst rotation, but the biggest thing is, like, you know, Drake is
confused.
up. I think, yeah,
they lost it
no,
already. That
for
thing's
sure.
gone.
Absolutely, and I think that was kind of the thought process, is I think they were going, hey, we're probably not going to get this Drake, so maybe you need a path top and try to get something happening. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to path top once again, because we're getting really close to that, those Void Grubs coming up, and I think both sides are going to really want to get their hands on Void Grubs for a lot of different reasons. I think people underestimate how powerful Void Grubs are into that. Marshall able to absolutely miss it and take.
Wait, he's just going to get solo.
Pounding from Lost. The flash comes in, but so does the Flagon Dragon. Best able to do a good chunk of damage. There's going to be the first blood. Weirdly going to Nautilus. A rotation for the Bard, but can he get out? No. The hook's going to pull him back in as we grab another kill, and that's going to be 2 kills for the side of Glacial. Starting off strong with 7 minutes on the clock, Kimchi.
I love Fails going for that flash play, trying to pick up the the revenge kill. Just trying. It's like you're level 1 Bard. You don't have your meeps upgraded, so they're on super long CD. Uh-oh. Wait, hold on. They're going to go for a second play here on a Fortnite. He's on the wrong side of the rift.
There is the ultimate for Rise. It looks like we're not going to try to intercept that whatsoever. That could have easily been a juke, as once again we're going to run into support on support action. Bard absolutely pounding Slide, doing a good chunk of damage, but it doesn't matter just quite yet. Both sides are really just spending a lot of time here in the top lane waiting for these objectives. We did get a rotation. It looks like Masons has gone top there, and we do have Grubs coming up here in about 40 or about 20 seconds, I should say.
Oh, but that was such a... Going back to the top play, because they really wanted to interrupt us with a ulti for ulti, but they get Fortnite's flash. That's very important, actually. They do get the flash off of the Rise in that play, but it's all because they kind of know that Lost wins these 1v1s, and Sly, again, on these rotations, as the supports say hello to each other. They shouldn't lead to anything. Wait, there's a Void Seeker down. Hold on.
Q did go in. Kaisa does have ultimate if they need it. There is going to be the phase as Slice go over the wall, leaving the Jarvan by himself, and it looks like we're going to get an interruption of the Flagon Drag as he falls to pieces. Wukong comes in, picks up a kill for his team, trying to tie up the score, but most importantly, grabbing another objective, Kimchi.
I don't think that's what Venom meant to do. He's definitely trying to go over the wall, but hey, it paid off in the end. But that catch out, they wanted so badly to try and catch out Fails, because he was playing so aggressive in that river, and they just have the wave like, if Mason's going to get to that play, he has to burn his ulti, and that's not really a great idea to burn on a prospective play that with Hearthbound Axe Kaisa. Not my favorite idea to go for that, at least as... Oh, sure, okay. I thought the stream froze. No, the game just froze.
Oh, the entire game.
Froze.
Okay, I was like, is it me? Did I disconnect? Ooh,
no, I thought it was
down in bottom lane though. Sorry, go ahead.
I thought it was. No, I thought it was us too. And then no, he zoomed the camera, and I'm like, oh, it really is just the game chose to rage quit for 2 seconds.
Well, I mean, you know, Riot's still a small indie company trying to get off their feet. You know, it's a struggle out there for these indie companies. As once again, we go from dramatic pause into dramatic pause. And what a terrible time for it. We are getting at least some sort of action, as it looks like the feats of warfare were claimed by Camille in the bot lane, as top dukes it out. Sly having to blow a heal in the top lane to keep themselves alive. And another kill, and the feats of warfare are picked up by Glacial, but they're going to need to use that and turn it into some objectives, because so far, Final Boss has done a good job of dominating these objectives.
Oh, wait, the sun could be deadly. No, Hopeng is everywhere. Here's the flag drag flash and the kill for Paper. He went from, so all this happened while we were, Venom is going to get this nice little revenge kill down in bot lane. The shield. The adaptive
No
shield,
way.
not
okay,
enough.
he doesn't get out. Okay, okay.
I was like,
there's no way he gets out of it.
No, guys,
Sly
there's
looking
no way
for a
there's
Hex Tech
more.
over the wall, trying to catch down Fails, but it's just not going to happen, unfortunately, for him. A lot of trading back and forth. I do appreciate the play, but I don't think it's going to happen whatsoever, Kimchi.
No.
And looking at our score, Kimchi, it looks like we're sitting at 4-2, 16.7 to 6, so about 700 gold difference.
Yeah, about 700. No objective. Actually, I have my Drake timer covered. I should probably fix that. Minute 14. Okay, cool. That's really helpful to not have the preview covering my Drake timers. But all this starts because Popeng just kind of walks into the enemy tri-brush. And they caught Lost in a pretty rough position away from the tower enough that he couldn't run back to it before Marshall could get the hook shot into the Hextech ultimatum. And then the Cataclysm burn. And just, I don't know how Popeng just walks up the river unpunished as there's a hook shot. Oh, that's him. Okay, they're lane swapping. Never mind. They're lane swapping back. The teleport's fine. I thought we were very confused for a second. But Popeng's getting busy.
I mean, we are.
Everywhere.
We do get a setup back in top lane. So once again, Marshall and Lost, just like you were saying, have made their way back over here. They're sitting about 68 to 71, and the trading is continuous. Fail comes in on the other side, looking for the lockdown, and Bessa out for blood, trying to lock down Marshall, and looking to tie up the score, getting their first kill for this game number 1. Popeng gonna run into a little bit of Venom. Can he beat the Monkey King inside his own jungle? He does have help, so I think that's what they're gonna be shooting for, and taking that blue buff will be a bit of a benefit. They can turn that into a bit more because there's 4 seconds on the clock for the upcoming Drake.
Man, Lost finally gets to say, I have friends too, buddy. After getting ganked 3 different times and only one of them resulting in a kill as Popeng. I thought he was going to Cataclysm for a second, but all this river control
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I was like, I've never seen some of these players say no to an option. Is ooh, big portal force. As that's a teleport down from Camille, so it's a 5v5 or 5v4.
Is going to be pretty important though, Kimchi, because they're not going to have that for the objective, and now we can start the Drake just like we're doing. As 3 have sort of just walk their way up, trying to buy themselves some time to get this objective, and it looks like Final is maybe looking for this objective, trying to take a tower down. At least they're getting a couple of plates. The Drake's gonna fall down. Popeng looking for an angle to go in as it looks like Camille tries to lock down the Corki. Corki absolutely stuck as Venom trying to follow up. A lot of damage here. Back in forward. Mason going in, but unfortunately not able to lock down the Corki. Popeng doing a good chunk of damage on top of Venom. Venom falling to pieces. Lost Light here to deal a lot of damage as well. Absolutely untouched. Not sure what was up with that portal. That's some weird shenanigans. What is that?
He caught the one part of the wall that is like individual. You can see that it sticks out. You can't see the corner because of the camera angle, but there's a corner. So he caught the corner of the square that doesn't connect to any other part of the wall, but that's actually meaningful to the play. The portal, it's funny because you could just keep going through it over and over again at least, but actually relating to the play, they wanted to go for the Hextech ultimatum into the shockwave, but the ball wasn't on top of Marshall, so Paper just ults onto themselves, and that's huge because then they have to force the engage kind of onto this Corki. He gets away, of course, and continues to lay in that damage from the pit. They have to overcommit hard because they really want verticality down, and it just allows Venom to connect with a big ulti. Fails as well, hitting a nice tempered fate to deny any potential follow-up from Sly and Paper as a smooth escape there from Light as, oh yeah, let's go. Starting to drift back to lane.
Absolutely,
so the Drake win the fight.
We're gonna get both top laners back in top lane, setting themselves up, ready to go, and ADCs have headed their way to mid. Looks like we have a couple of minutes before objectives are upcoming as the Roots come in on bot lane, trying to lock down Paper. Paper taking a good chunk of damage, trying to follow it up as Rise gets a couple of snapshots right there at the end, and now we can force our way onto this last little plate in bot lane.
It is a mix of there's no damage because they both built Roa, and Orianna's a little tankier because they both built Roa, so it's perfectly a nice even trade. But they do get the feats of, will have an opportunity to pick up the feats of strength. They need one more objective, and it's looking like it'll be third. Actually, no, Rift Herald in 2. Yeah, Rift Herald 16. It's always weird. They've changed the Rift Herald timer like 3 times in the past 2 years, and it throws me off every time.
I mean, I missed when we had 2 Void Grubs, but maybe I was the only one. Ooh, Bard ultimate coming in, trying to buy a little bit more time for the battle between Lost and the 2 top laners. This is going to be a full dive, but the tower is on the wrong side as Marshall gets stuck here holding the bag. Fortnite going in, trying to lock down this Nautilus, doing a good chunk of damage, but is it going to get him taken out as finally Marshall goes down on the other side. Rise wasting a little bit of an ultimate, but it does not matter as Wukong Venom coming in for the Cyclone, getting the knock up, and that's going to be 3 kills in the favor of Final Boss.
And they're going to get the Herald. It's 15. Cool. Good to know. 15, 20, and then 25. Those are your spawn timers for your first. But how many times have teams done this where they try to dive in Mbessa with ultimate? Like, how many times do we have to have these teams learn that you just can't full dive Mbessa like that? They did, yes, there was assistance, but fails, hits the Tempered Fate actually onto like the perfect double target, as that was right when Marshall wanted to engage. And then he lands the stun, which makes it easy, trivial even, to connect the public execution, and the rest of the fight, they just have to run. The turret, there's no wave. The wave got destroyed as, oh no, Fails is getting destroyed. And
Stain is welcome. The teleport is there, but it's just not going to do enough as the portal gets locked down, and now Veracity going to get picked off, and that's going to be 2 kills for the side of Glacial. Glacial still in this one, despite the fact they're being down about, what, 1.5k or so in gold. What's going to be more important is these objectives coming up. We do have 1 minute and 10 seconds, Kimchi, for the next Drake.
Fails just gets verticality killed there. His greed. Fails his greed, gets his bot laner killed. As he tries to portal away, but you're not winning a 2v4. As 1 item Corki and... Oh, Dead Man's Plate Bard. I like it. You could do... Oh my god, I cast with Chong. Chong is a giant bard. Like, fiend. I don't know if you've casted with him before, but he's a bard fiend.
I have.
So... yeah, you know how much of a bard fiend he is then. He always, oh my goodness, Fails is being greedy, but he just loves how many random items you could build on this champion, and it's like, yeah, I could see why. And unfortunately, it's really good for your roams and some sustain, or for some tankiness, not really good for doing any actual damage, which Bard has a pretty good innate amount of because of the meeps.
Well, I think the idea for it is, you know, positioning on Bard, which is why you've got the Swiftness boots, which is why you've got Dead Man plates, and we can build this into fancy boots at some point here. And if he can get in the right position at the right time, it can really aid his team, especially when it comes to the wards and everything else. And they could do a lot of work. But
no,
here
they're doing
is
it
sort
again.
of the double-edged sword of Bard. Oh no, we're gonna go. Why is Nautilus there?
He was looking for a dive. That's why I said, oh no, we're doing it again, as they've just given up all control. Yep, they have to full dive now because the Drake is just being absolutely melted. Fails, forced to flash over the wall, and there's no dive because Mbessa instantly clears the wave. This was a rough call for a dive.
Absolutely. Losing that objective is going to give a second Drake, a Hexatech Drake, to the other side, as we're not even able to get our hands on Bard. And what I was saying is,
they
Bard's
the
got a
too.
very...
Oh my god.
Double-edged sword here to where either you're confident or you're dead when it comes to a lot of the roams, as the Tempered Fate comes in getting absolutely no one. However, it looks like Slies are going to get caught over there by verticality, absolutely getting melted by the Corki.
Final Boss just got macroed off the face of the earth. They lost all pressure, all prio on the Drake, so they call for this dive onto the Mbessa. The dive doesn't even come to fruition because they spot the Bard eventually. And now they're losing the turret in mid. They lost the kill, and now they're losing a second turret as well. As Venom?
Trying to lock down Venom.
Gets out.
Taking a whole bunch of shots there. A lot of back and forward.
Shockwave
Should still go down.
Holy cow.
To Final Boss. Final Boss taking it down as a fight starts out in the top lane. Marshall into Lost, but still, this is a lot to watch out for. We do miss it, though, but there's still an angle for Mbessa to get in there. She really wants to make this fight happen, and for some reason, Marshall goes back.
Wait, whoa, why do you walk back in?
It is a lot of damage.
Yeah,
a little bit of juke, almost, but I don't think the hands were there.
No, I don't. The damage was not there. I don't know why Marshall opted back into that play after getting out.
Had the complete into Lost, but still, this is a lot
what,
to
we have
watch
replays?
out.
Dang, we fancy out here.
Fancy. Yeah, we're getting fancy.
I know.
All right, so watch this.
Has the look at this?
So look at the
full
shield.
option to get out. Nuh-uh.
Just
get the
choosing
flash?
not to. She just take the fight. She got pretty close. You know, if she had one more combo and a whole bunch of items, and you know the enemy had less HP and weren't playing the game, then maybe they would have gotten something.
If Mbessa didn't have Eclipse, which was back up by the time that Marshall went for that re-engage, maybe, but also you're holy cow, 2-5 on Camille's getting rough. Nice stun. Is there gonna be any follow-up from Venom as you see the wrap
Look at all
around
that damage? Looking for an angle as the Cataclysm comes down, as Poping is absolutely isolated and destroyed. Gonna get taken down. Corki left absolutely alone to shred player after player as the Tempered Fate comes in. Kaisa thought she was out, but they're gonna pull her back in as Corki has picked up a triple kill.
Oh no. They absolutely get caught. Fails is a beast, and Mason's dead.
It's not over.
Oh, they didn't take anyone.
It's not over. Oh, Kaisa gets stunned by the Bard, and we absolutely
Unofficial
fall apart
quad.
as Corki picks up another kill, sitting at 5-1.
Unofficial quad. And yeah, this just starts with Popeng and Sly absolutely caught out on a terrible timing. And then I guess they Cataclysm to try and save the team. That's a rough flash still in the Tempered Fate range. Brutal. As you hand over, that's 1,200 gold. That's a lot of money.
And an auto-con.
Oh yeah, that's
And
only more XP, and that's only like 2k of stats alone handed over to them as well. Oof.
And look at the gold diversity on the side of Final Boss. It's not like it's all on Corki or someone. They have spread it out quite nicely, and I think it's really biting them. I'm not sure why Fortnite is here. Poping is looking for some sort of angle to happen, but we've got a TP coming in. Sly going on the background, trying to buy a little bit of time. If he can lock down the Rise, they should be able to get a kill off on him as it looks like we're going to do a full 4-man dive into this. However, this is going to be a lot of damage to deal with. Fortnite is getting shredded, but so is Mason. Lost for Light, able to do a good chunk of damage onto Poping. Not really taking a whole bunch on the other side. Poping trying to lead them away from the team. Flag and drag for safety, but is it going to be enough to get out as Corki is here for blood to try to mop up some of these kills? One going down as Lost takes out another one. That's going to be a 1-for-2 trade in the favor of Final Boss.
Oh my god, they have to commit so much into that play because they are just they don't have any damage still, or he's still on one item. Like, we're not even on, I'm assuming, actually that's Horizon Focus. Okay, we don't even have the Horizon Focus even close to finished for Paper on the Orianna, and it's just, he flashes away. It doesn't help that Fortnite flashes away from the Shockwave. Just insult to injury. They thought they had him locked down. They did not have him locked down, and this is a very fed Mbessa. Spear of Shojin Eclipse, a little valuable. Pretty much didn't take any damage that fight and got a free double. And Verticality was there too. I think he actually got an assist, so congratulations Verticality on using your E. Very cool.
You
and he gets red buff, so he's really
happened. People died.
You looked in the general vicinity. No, there's no
trying to lock down Verticality, but it's just not going to happen, Kimchi. We are setting up for the next upcoming Drake, which is going to be an important one, getting that soul, or getting us one away from soul point. But the vision is much better on the side of Glacial, but they need to get some sort of number advantage, which might be right here. Do they see?
Throw an auto.
Doubt.
Throw a Q. Throw a Q.
That's frustrating. You might as well fish with a Q.
Yeah, they saw him with the sweeper as nice hook connects. They're trying to zone Light right now, but they're getting turned on real quick. Nice double
over the wall. Verticality able to get out of it just barely, but it looks like Kaisa's there to follow it up. This is a good one for the other side, but they need to lock them down. Redemption coming down on the other side. Kaisa gonna get taken down by Vincent, doing a good chunk of damage. Flag and drag for the second time, trying to lock them down, but they just do not have the wallet or the damage as the entire team just slowly gets picked apart and destroyed in Rise. Fortnite picking up a triple kill.
What? That was a quad right there. That's crazy. And it looks so good. They get the pick onto Verticality, but unfortunately, as you mentioned a little bit ago, everyone on this team is pretty gold. Like, they're in the green right now, so they're feeling themselves gold-wise. And Fortnite only had 1 kill, but still was farming pretty nicely. Had some assists, and is going to pick up 4 right there. Beating Rise, not the best situation. He actually is really tanky. He's got his Hourglass finished for sure. And he kind of can do whatever he wants.
One of the deceptive things about Rise is how beefy he is. A lot of people don't expect it, and so it allows him to hang on for a lot longer than you would expect another type of control mage to do. And I think that's kind of his charm for sure. The big thing, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And the thing I wanted to point out here is this is what I was worried about with Camille, right? Even though Camille has 4 kills, they don't want extended fights, but the other team very much so is happy to have these extended fights with having no Paper walking immediately into their graves, no wards, no nothing. Verticality is going to get isolated, but it looks like Mason is going to go for Predator Prey, as looks like for the most part Jarvan does escape. I thought he was going to get taken out there. I thought Lost was directly on him, but that's going to be the other 2 kills on the side of Final Boss. Glacial really struggling. Marshall looking for an angle in Fortnite. Sly walking up, but it's just not going to be enough. Ryze is kind of hard to pin down, as weird as it seems, as now we're beginning to chew on the mid turrets. The portal's up and ready to go, so immediately we take it, we can go over and run away just like we have. And now looking up the objectives, we've got 3 Drakes on the side of Final Boss and 1 for Glacial, so we're so close to that soul point, about 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, and now Baron is just about to be live, Kimchi.
Oh, Redemption. I think it's been on a little bit for a little bit for fails, but Redemption is just broken. I've mentioned this pretty much every cast because every champion in support is building this item. Like, it's actually disgusting. You should totally go for this. Yeah, you totally win this, by the way. Venom, smoke this fool. Oh, wait, no, he actually wins this. Wait, hold on. Venom, run. Never mind, you have a friend. Get in there.
Okay, so Marshall does do a good chunk of damage, and this is going to buy themselves a little bit of time to get some wards down on the Baron, so I do like this. We do have TPs if we're going to rotate for it, but now Paper's got to worry about Fortnite on sort of the horizon, chomping at the bits. I think at this point, unless we get a TP from Paper, they're going to get taken down. The Shockwave comes in. We're doing a lot of trading, but Corky and Bard are making their way over rather quickly as Fails comes in to sort of tip the scales on their side as the Rune Prism comes in, and somehow Corky gets close enough to pick up another kill, bringing him up to 6-2, and now Baron is on the table. Poping looking for an angle, trying to get that mid pressure at the very least, but they need to get a kill, and most importantly, they need to get out of here before they get collapsed upon. Oh, Cyclone coming in. Looks like we're going to get the Temper Fates, and this is just going to be the death of Poping. There's almost no way for him to get out of it as Mbessa is waiting on the other side to try to lock down Kaisa, but unfortunately the ultimate is not going to be good. Sly should get caught, but this is a very beefy Nautilus to try and take down, so there might be some sort of angle for them to get out of it, just barely walking away. That's another 2 deaths on the side of Glacial. Glacial really struggling in this game number 1.
Autobots are just going to call for as much of the base as they can. I don't know if they can end. Here's nice hook, connects. Oh, but Fortnite has the friend, has the redemption. Uh-oh. That was Azanya's.
And that's how powerful that is as the redemption comes in, but it's going to be too little too late. It does help keep Sly along just a little bit longer, but it just doesn't matter as all of that damage, all of that gold on the other side. It's 45k to 57k, Kimchi.
12. Oh, they're actually not going to opt to just end the game. They said Popang and Paper are up. They can absolutely wipe us if they land a really nice comp. Popang's gone too deep.
Not if you do this. Okay, the flash comes in. Flag
nice engage.
Cataclysm is also good, but where's the follow-up? Do they have time? Poping gonna fall to pieces. Lost, taking a bit of damage. His team just did not have the time to execute on that.
Wait,
that
he gets
could have been really good.
Never mind.
Lost for light. Duking out with the Kaisa. Kaisa does pick up a kill, but now Verticality trying to lock down Paper, trying to do a lot of that armor shred. There's the Shockwave, buying a little bit more time for Paper, waiting for the cooldowns. They're gonna be so important as the Timber Fate comes there in the background. Verticality take a lot of damage. Nautilus might pick up a kill with his own ultimate Sly. Unfortunately, not able to go to the wall as Verticality flashes away and fails. Buys his ADC some much-needed time to get out of there.
Fails is really good at Bard as it turns out. Picture perfect stun.
He has the hands
to make sure that there's. Yeah, he has the hands. He has the brain as well to play it, apparently. Picture perfect to make sure that Paper doesn't get to pick up that last literal 1 HP of damage. I swear to God, it might have actually been 1 as Baron. Was it even a question? It was tech. It was tech. Yep, it's tech. See?
Absolutely, yeah. And now we got about 20 seconds on the clock for the next upcoming soul point, which is really just going to be the final nail in the coffin. We've got Baron on the side of Final Boss, and at this point, Glacial really just needs some sort of miracle to turn this around. They need a massive number advantage, and they need to like press all of their buttons to take somebody out.
They're 2 items down, though, in the mid, or 1.5 items down on the mid lane, 1.5 down on the bot lane. This is just an impossible ask as they found Failed, but Lost is right on the other side of the wall. Is he going in?
Ooh, Lost going in, able to do a good chunk of damage, trying to lock down the Kai'Sa's. Redemption comes in, almost keeping them alive long enough, but it's just not going to happen. Jarvan over the wall, but going to get taken down, and that's going to be 3 down for the side of Glacial. Baron is up, and this game might be over because Marshall is still in the top lane, not helping his team whatsoever as Paper has to 1v4 to keep them inside this game. TP coming down, but it might just be the Uber Eats delivery of gold because they come in right as the objective goes down, going to get taken down as Lost, trying to do a little bit of a fountain dive, and this Nexus is all but over. Shockwave in vain as game number 1 falls to Final Boss.
Oh, that was a macro. It was a bit of a macro diff. that led into just an overall goal diff. Like Shorkies played so well on the map, like just everywhere. Like it felt like after they got over the initial Popang being all over the place, doing whatever he wants early phase, they did not take they weren't very happy about it, and they did just about everything they could to get that early objective advantage to counteract the early gold lead that Popang got on his laners, and they just won every team fight. I don't think there was actually a team fight that Glacial won or were even close to winning at that like ever.
Well, the coordination and the execution for Final Boss was just absolutely there. It was absolutely fantastic. There were a couple of times Glacials could have just really like there was a really good cataclysm on Poping. If his team was just there to follow it up right before the Baron, sort of where he got caught kind of at the end, that was actually a pretty good opportunity, but his team just wasn't close enough. If his timing was just a little bit better, or if his team was just a little bit more on the bits, or maybe the shot calling, they could have tried to turn that around. And there were a couple of moments like that throughout the game. So Glacial does have what it takes to take on Final Boss, but the consistency, the execution for Shorkies was so great, Kimchi.
I mean, there were so few mistakes besides, I mean, can you even call like loss early to deaths mistakes? Because they were really just well played from Glacial. Like they do have some pretty nice
Mhm.
early game setups. They have some nice aggression from Popang and some good baits in from Marshall, especially Marshall. Two of those in the game, of course, or two of those to kick off the game. But it's just in the team fights, it seems that the Shorkies have the unbelievable coordination. They know they have a singular focus. They know how they want to play their team fights, and they absolutely just to a T. They executed to a T what they wanted to do, and it came through clearly in the game score.
Absolutely, Kimchi. And what's nice about these best of 3 series is sometimes it just takes a little bit longer for your team to come online. Sometimes you got to wait for that caffeine to finally hit your bloodstream and actually turn your brain on. Get those one brain cells flowing for sure. So there's plenty of opportunities for Glacial to turn it around. I think I do see the elements there for them to take on Final Boss. But I've cast a lot of different of Final Boss's teams, and a lot of times they really do live up to the name of Final Boss. And so far that appears to be the case. Either way, we're going to go into a quick little break. Some of the casters need to go to the little caster room. It may or may not be me. And we'll be right back in about 2 to 3 minutes. Alrighty, Kimchi, we are back moving into draft 2, game number 2. Final boss having quite the presence in game number 1. Can they continue it? Are we going to get a 2-0 here? Are we going to get a reverse sweep from Glacial? We'll get to see for sure, Kimchi.
Oh man, if it goes like the first game, first boss or final boss, sorry, not first blood. I see FB and think first blood, but final boss Shorkies are they are setting themselves up to possibly in position to run the table because that first game was really, really good from them, and it didn't feel like there was a lot Glacial could have done to really counteract it at some points.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest things is I think the thing with Camille, and I mentioned that in the draft, that they're not going to want these long extended trades. If you're going to draft somebody like Camille, I think you really need to follow it up with a lot of different picks here and there. And we just didn't really see that. Maybe like Caitlyn would have been pretty decent. But I just felt like the Camille pick was really awkward for them. I mean, if it worked, then, I might be saying the opposite, but it still felt kind of like one of these things is not like the other when I look at Camille.
One of these things not like the other. Dang. I don't know, the Camille could have worked. I definitely can see an angle where it ends up working. I think there were other issues, unfortunately, before the Camille. Because she got a lead in lane. It's just kind of, the comp couldn't get to do what it wanted to do, and I gotta go get the draft 1 link. Oh yeah, there's the draft 1 link. The Orianna Jarvan never really became a factor. It felt like a lot of the time it was either the Orianna going in or the Jarvan going in or the Camille going in alone. We never truly did see that mid jungle or Orianna Camille specific synergy that we expected to see to affect either the team fights or the laning phase. Like, they never really ganked the Rise, besides that one time we saw Popang walk up from his bot gank into the mid lane and just flag and drag, EQ flash, pick up the kill. It's like, that's the only time we saw him mid the entire game during the laning phase, sorry. As he will be at least on another early ganking jungle with the Xin Zhao locked in.
Well, and I think Zen's a sort of great tempo reset. Zen has a lot of versatility, that Crescent Guard can be used kind of in an aggressive way and in an offensive way for a lot of different reasons in order to help out your team. And it very much so in a lot of different ways can turn into this sort of get out of jail free card to where if you're, trying to, shape things up, maybe a little bit shaky from the last game, I think Zen's a good answer for that. And then we're going to go from that immediately into Trundle. So Trundle and Zen, I feel like Trundle's a little bit weaker, at least from the games I've been casting and I've seen. I know he is meta. I know he still can be powerful, but he just doesn't have the same kind of impact as like I see Wukong or Zen or some of the other junglers. Even Pantheon, I feel like has a bit more of an impact. Not that I haven't seen Trundle pop off though.
Ganking wise, probably I would say definitely clearly favors Zen, Pantheon, Wukong, Jarvan, all that. But the most important thing Trundle does is beat Xin in the early and even late 1v1s because he just steals Zin's stats and beats him over the head with them and makes him unable to escape, as it will be the Syndra Talia trade in the meantime. Everyone's favorite trade from 2017. I lied, it's Aurora, the modern trade. But most importantly, he actually dissuades a lot of these tanky top lane lock-ins because if you go into a team fight or a gank as Cassante, Ornn, or Sion, he just steals all of your armor and magic resist and steals some of your, siphons some of your HP. Lean got on me for saying steals their HP, and I was like, fine, siphons HP. But he just gets a bunch of healing and a ton of armor and magic resist, so it is a bit more difficult to play those traditional tanky top laners with a Trundle around, as Jinx going to be blinded here for... I'm forgetting the name. I'm going to literally go check the name because I feel bad for forgetting it. For Mason. I was going to say Morgan, and I was like, it's not Morgan, it's Mason.
I mean, you got to get a part right. That's some percentage of the name, right? So you got to give yourself some credit. But something I wanted to point out here is we've got a Talia on the other side, and I'm pretty sure Talia is kind of anti-dash. It definitely works on Zen, but I believe it also works on Aurora's ultimate as well.
Yes.
Sort of going from one side to the other.
No, not on one side to the other. The initial cast, it might count it, but the dash, she becomes untargetable. So she can't stun her, sadly, but she has the E and the W.
The thing though, too, is it's not a target, though. It's kind of like an AoE you put on the ground, but...
no, but she goes invulnerable during that. Yeah, it's like a hex
okay, that makes sense.
It's weird because you just see her, like, teleport.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, well, and the more I'm seeing this, the more I'm thinking that we've got a lot of control. Between Trundle's pillars is so powerful for a lot of ways, and then to play that into Talia is really great. I also like the Lucian here for the early pick, but I feel a lot of times Lucian needs to get an early lead. Otherwise, he kind of has a hard time justifying himself. He doesn't really find his voice in sort of the mid to late game unless he's able to like get this certain pick here or there. It's not like Corki where they always have like really good armor shred. You can always play into that. At some point Lucian just really seems to lose his thunder. Okay, Leona.
Not the pick I would have gone with. As Jinx Thresh, all at 2014 because they're back. But Leona, usually you see
we're
him
going back in time.
We are back in time. I thought we were going to get the if we got Syndra Talia, then we really would have been back in time. Unfortunately, not quite the case. I mean, Leona does synergize well with Lucian. She lanes a Zenith Blade. That's just Lucian's, okay, I'm going to go in, shoot someone in the face 4 to 5 times, leave, repeat, ad infinitum. But usually you see like the Milio, or you see the Nami, the Braum, which were banned away, obviously. But Milio also a good option, as it will be the Jinx Thresh finally locked in, as it's going to be top blind, as, well, Mord isn't really affected by Trundle. Well, actually, no, Mord creates a game of ultimate chicken. Whoever ultis first loses, because whoever ultis second steals more stats. Everyone's favorite video game. Don't push R.
Which would have been directly counterintuitive of Mrs. Outplay button Syndra, but we did not get that one this time, and now we're waiting for our last pick in the top lane. I think it would have been a great combination, but Aurora does a lot for the team. Aurora's range is sort of deceptively smaller than I think people kind of make it out to be when you're looking at her abilities. You feel like she's more of an artillery mage, but a lot of times she wants people to sort of walk into you and just kind of like take people down on these lines. So the forward motion teams don't do particularly well, and I think Trundle will struggle into Aurora if their position is good. But we're going to go from Mordekaiser into the Aatrox. So Mordekaiser, Aatrox for the top lane.
Okay, I'm intrigued by that. Another game of Ultimate Chicken, of course, as everyone loves. Actually, no, it's only Ultimate Chicken for Aatrox. If he ultis too early, Mordekaiser will just get a bunch of HP. It's great. It's amazing, but I don't know. Aurora, I don't know if this is actually true. Don't quote me on this, but I think her in-game videos, like her champ preview, still shows her old ability ranges, because they did nerf those because they were a lot. I think they had a 1 to 150 more range on her Q on launch, and they did remove that rather quickly. But this is a pretty nice comp coming out from Glacial. I think it has a lot more synergy. Definitely a lot more synergy than the first one. The Xin kind of creating this line in the sand, kind of, and is really good actually at making space for the Aurora and the Jinx to play behind him pretty safely. Aurora also has the option to go forwards, of course. She sometimes wants to try and get onto that back line, but it's not full dive. Like, they aren't committing fully to dive like they did in the first game. They have the option to dive with potentially the Thresh. I don't think you should ever send the Thresh very far forwards because you have a Jinx on your team, but with the Xin and Aurora, you can potentially dive, and then you have a pretty, depending on the build, bulky frontliner in the Xin and the Mordekaiser, and then Jinx should be pretty safe to stand very far behind everybody else and just shoot everybody in the head, because there's not really any dive besides Leona, and that would require either hitting a Solar Flare or your entire team to let you get hit by the Zenith Blade for no real reason. So big improvement, big draft improvements, but I need to see execution, because honestly the draft still wasn't that bad last game, but execution matters a lot still.
Absolutely. And when we're looking at the Team 4 final boss, I think kind of the goal here, the thought process, is to sort of lock down or delay someone and then juggle them around until they die, and follow it up with a whole bunch of damage. I am worried about Lucian in the mid to late fight phases. He can still do a lot, but I'm always just a little bit cautious of that. His team definitely has a lot of follow-up for that. So even if Lucian's just able to get a lead early on and they're able to capitalize that into a few objectives, that can really turn into a lot. Or maybe I'm going to be completely wrong and Lucian's just going to absolutely dominate the lane. But there's a lot of versatility on the side of Glacial for them to play with, right? So they had kind of a rocky game number one, and I think the versatility is going to help them out with that, between the Thresh Lanterns, the Thresh Hooks, between Jinx, between Aurora, between the Crescent Guard on Xin. So they've got a lot of, I don't necessarily say safety, but versatility I think is the best way to say that.
And this is kind of a heavy pick comp. You've kind of not glossed over it, but briefly mentioned it. Like, solar flare with the seismic shove and the pillar. It's like very pick heavy at times, or they have the option to play and fish for these picks. And Thresh Lantern really good at denying that, because he could just throw it on his teammate, start walking away, and they can teleport, or they can slowly walk back to him or run back to him, whatever you want to. Teleport, it's not really teleport, it's like a weird dash that is also cancelable by Talia. Please don't screw it up and get yourself stunned or your teammates stunned. That'd be really funny though, so kind of please do it. I want to see it at least once for my entertainment, for my sick entertainment, because I think it'd be really funny to see a team to see the Thresh accidentally grief someone with the unraveled earth. But otherwise, pretty good escape as long as your whole team doesn't get caught, which would not be a pick. That would be a team fight.
Absolutely. And if we're talking about funny, little note that it's I really enjoy is the interaction between Vi's ultimate and Talia's ultimate. Is Vi will completely follow Talia the entire course of Talia's ultimate, and I don't know what it is. It tickles my tiny brain cell every single time, and I've been super ecstatic to see it the few times I have been able to. But we should be getting this game, I think, in a couple of minutes. I'm not sure what the timer is. I think we're getting into spectator delay right now, so give us about 2 to 3 minutes. We're going to run into a small little break and we'll be right back. Alrighty, I told you we'd be right back, and indeed we are moving into game number 2, but Final Boss has a 1-point lead, sitting at 0-1. Final Boss on the red side, and of course, Glacial thematically in the blue.
You know, one day you're going to say, we'll be right back, and then the stream dies or something, and it's going to be really funny. Because then you'll have to go on stream whenever it restarts and be like, I was somehow a liar. The stream crashed.
Yeah. We will not be right back. The game is absolutely over. I mean, it could be worse. You know, sometimes I'll make a little bit of a dad abandonment joke and say something to the effect of, unlike my father, I'll be right back. Yeah, I've done that a few times too. I think that's funnier.
Ooh. I always wanted. I don't want to steal Chong's outro, but it's such a good outro. If you've been drinking, hand the keys over to someone else. So he closes every stream for some reason, but it's so good, and I'm gonna miss casting Premiere with him because I'm not gonna get to hear that outro every week.
I actually, because typically I do the MC thing, so I haven't caught his outro, so I'll have to look that up. But Chong's a funny guy. I've enjoyed. I've enjoyed watching it. I'm here for the stupid for sure. That's 90% of the reason why I cast. So it speaks to me on a spiritual level.
All right, Boris, Destroyer of Worlds, doing a little bit of a poke and prod into the enemy jungle. I don't know if he got a ward down because there's no ping up there. He didn't. He was just staring at a rock formation.
I mean, maybe it was a pretty rock. You don't know. Flay already coming out as Leona has gone in, but you know, for the most part, Leona's not really a champion at level 1, a lot like Alistar. Not quite as dramatically as Alistar, so this is the great opportunity for them to get a couple of things off. But the biggest thing is Lucian hits like a truck, as we're seeing Sly is already down to about half HP. This is the best opportunity for Lucian to get some early gains, and needs to try to follow it up as quickly as he can.
Sly, stop it.
Flay coming in, dealing a good chunk of damage.
He's getting a good amount back.
Verticality's going to hurt too.
Yeah, Verticality is putting the beat down onto these guys right now. But Alistar, I mean, at least Leona doesn't violently eject the enemy team half the time. Nice combo there from Lost to get a nice chunk out of Marshall.
Absolutely, and we should be getting level 2 on fails on the Leona here rather soon. That can quickly turn the tempo in their favor. Mason needs to be careful. That positioning is going to be really important because if they get caught by Leona, they're going to be dead. Lucian loves to pick up those catches where they can, but the biggest thing is look at the health and verticality. The poking has been so great, forcing verticality to blow his pots, and now he only has a little bit of life regen.
Does he have the biscuits? I don't know if he already ate his biscuit or not, so we'll have to wait for 4 minutes because we don't see secondaries, unfortunately, in the client.
And looking at the game state right now, it looks like everything has started out just a little bit slow. There's still, I think the most amount of poking has been in the mid lane between the Aurora and, of course, the Talia top. I don't expect anything really to pop off here. Even when these guys get down to, like, I don't know, 20 HP, it's always deceptive. Both Mordekaiser and Aatrox want to go, oh, I'm low, but not actually low.
Ooh, I'm low. Yes, engage on me. That's the Olaf trick right there. Yes, engage on me. I'm low. It's not like I have 20% lifesteal because I am low. Mason getting chunked, and Sly just not in position to play. But verticality, yeah, it's still hurting. It's not getting much better.
About 20 seconds on the clock to see if we're going to get any sort of biscuits here on verticality, which I think verticality is really going to need. But I think this first back is going to be really important. We get the first tempo change in bot lane once Leona hits level 2, and if Lucian and Leona aren't able to follow it up, it's going to be a really hard one. As the Flay comes in, buying themselves a little bit of time, Slay able to get absolutely taken down. Sly just falling to pieces, and now the cooldowns for Leona should be up. Mason desperately trying to get out of here. They do have cleanse ready to go. It's going to pop it, but it's just not going to be enough, as it looks like we're going to pick up a double kill on verticality.
And that's one way to get Lucian. You said his mid-late game might be a little weak. How about we just get him to mid-late game as fast as humanly possible while everyone else is on their early game? But just Sly, I know what he was going for, and I actually do like his angle, but just a little too aggressive, and he finds himself stuck under the turret because of the Zenith Blade, and then he burns his flash, or he doesn't actually burn his flash, he has to burn his heal, sorry. And it's just not really enough. Like, he can't escape, unfortunately. His Pang... We've seen this before, I swear. I've seen this story before.
Looking for another rotate. Oh, he
Full
does.
9 range.
Okay, we got really close to the pool,
Whoa,
but unfortunately, it's
hold
just not
on.
going to be. Po-Ping taking an absolute pounding from the other side, having to blow a flash. That's going to be a little bit devastating because now
Wait,
we're
there's
getting
follow-up.
a full rotation from the Leona and Trundle. Venom is here. That pillar should come up here rather soon. There it is. Po-Ping getting absolutely locked down, unable to go anywhere. Trundle says, do not collect your $200. Do not pass go because I am going to pick up a kill, and now that's going to be 0 and 3 on the board.
Oh no, and they can dive. There's no flash available. This Leona with the Eclipse so bulky. And lost his 1-0-1 as nice damage coming through. He flayed him through the traps, actually. That's such a weird detail. You could flay over the traps, by the way. Weird. Did not know you could do that.
Weird.
Or as a bug. Or as a bug. Honestly, completely possible.
I mean, it is a small indie company. They're bound to have a bug or here or two, you know, with it being Riot Studios. But we already have, we already have the first little part of Feats of Warfare already going, sitting at 0-4. Those 3 kills picked up by Final Boss. Glacial really needs to turn things around because right now it seems to be a bit of an ill omen. We're so far favoring Final Boss in game number 2.
Let's see. Anything cool? That is an Oblivion Orb Rush. That is obligatory into the Aatrox, unfortunately. He's going to be sitting on Oblivion Orb for the whole game. You're never upgrading this thing into Morello's, let's be real. But otherwise, I mean, you're really hoping that that Paper somehow finds a massive lead on this Aurora right now because it's looking pretty grim. Everywhere else, there's no way they get that Zenith Blade. Oh, nice little Dark Passage.
Lantern.
We always call it the Lantern. It is technically called Dark Passage, and I'm like, no one calls it that besides me.
Yeah, no one calls it. It's
weird
like
that.
It's literally a lantern.
Like
I'm not going to call it. Yeah, I'm not going to change what I know at this point. Marshall doing a little bit of trade over here into Lost. I don't think we're in Shadow Realm. It's really hard to tell when we hit Shadow Realm for the Spectator, but Trundle coming in for a game. Venom.
Have a shade of
trying to lock them down. The pillar coming in, buying a little bit of time for Lost to find the damage. There is the Shadow Realm trying to buy himself a little bit of 1v1, but this is going to be pretty hard to deal with as the flash comes in, and another kill is picked up by Aatrox. Aatrox, 7 minutes of the clock, sitting at 2-0. Final Boss still continuing to live up to their name.
Things are going to get worse before they get better, it seems. For Glacial in this game, this top lane might already be a lost cause. Like, you can say that the Jinx can sit back and scale, hopefully, pick somebody off, because all it takes for Jinx to pop off is 1 kill, and that is almost an entire 2 plates wiped off with 1 demolish. Just putting it out there. That's kind of scary, but with Jinx, it's like 1 kill, and you can take over an entire team fight as long as you have, like, 1 or 2 items. Mordekaiser, you put someone in the death realm and they beat you, that's not good. Generally bad.
You heard it here, folks. Kimchi says dying is bad. Definitely noted for sure. But look at the gold lead. There's about a 3K difference at about 8 minutes. Void Grub should be spawning here soon. We did have a Drake fall into the background. It was going to be a Cloud. So that's at least going to be some sort of upgrade for the other side. And Trundle's not really responding to the act of the Void Grub. So maybe we're going to get a couple of early objectives here for the other side, which in my opinion are way more valuable if you're able to use them right.
Oh, no, not again.
Fails goes in. The Lantern is here, but we do not need it as the Flay is able to do a good amount of damage. Unfortunately, the Death Sense is not going to be as the Solar comes in, but it looks like we're going to go immediately and stop all of the damage from the other side as Po-Ping taking an absolute pounding inside the Void Grub pit. Unfortunately, the rotation for Paper was not quick enough to get those Void Grubs on their side. They did get 1, though.
They got 1, but they still lose the objective stack, most importantly, as... Oh, no. They're just doing it again. This is bullying.
I gotta say,
you can't do this.
Fails has been picking up each one of these E's at maximum range. I think that's been like 4 or 5 like in a row at maximum range, just barely catching them over and over.
Are you kidding me?
Try to lock them down again as Mason gets taken down under tower verticality. Should have plenty of time to get out here and maybe even get a play. However, Po-Ping is pretty scary. The flash does come forward, and we're trying to close the distance, but that's going to be a lot of damage on verticality as it looks like Leona's going to do it again, pick up another one in bottom, and now we're sitting at 0-9. Devastating.
5-0 as maybe Paper can pick up some kind of play. Nope, not quite there. Out of mana. Such is the oh, never mind. I was gonna say it'll just be a trade. No, it's worse than that.
Oh, yeah,
so
there
much
it
worse.
is. Now 10 kills, so that's a kill, more than a kill per minute for final boss, and it doesn't look like this pain train is going to stop anytime soon, Kimchi, because look at this. This is a 5-0 Lucian. You know, just like you said, it doesn't matter if you're not super great in the mid game. If you're in your mid game, in early game, then it just doesn't matter.
This is a 9-minute Essence Reaver. That's a little concerning, but those are, I just want to, usually I say things have gone pear-shaped, but it seems things started pear-shaped for Glacial, unfortunately, in this game, as final boss apparently took offense to them winning early game. And so they decided that they're just going to win every phase of the game. You can't lose early game if you win everything, and Popang, oh no. Crescent Guard, but it's guarding nothing.
Fails has just had a, you know, quite the commanding presence, you know, both on Bard and even more so on Leona. I thought it would have been worse on Bard. It looks like we're going into the Shadow Realm. We do have a good amount of damage, but there should be a lot of back and forward. Mordekaiser's really struggling to take this out, as Lost is an absolute tanky beast. 2 ultimates down in the top lane, kind of turning icon. Oh no. In the bot lane, it looks like we're going to lock down Mason on the other side. The flash comes out, but it's just not going to be good enough because this verticality, this Lucian is just doing too much damage sitting at 6-0. Sure, Leona picked up a kill, but that is a small thing as Marshall. Oh my god, no. Okay, that's unfortunate.
Nope. That is just the way the cookie crumbles. Welcome to League of Legends, unfortunately. Just a little.
Look at that HP.
Just a little. Both of them on that level of HP. Honestly,
like,
could have
went either way. Half a ladybug's worth of HP. Yeah, that's really devastating.
What's that?
Hey man, you gotta measure things in ladybugs.
What's the banana per scale ratio? I just need to know.
Banana per scale. I mean, like, I don't even think that was even anywhere close to a full banana. Yeah, we're talking like 1/12 of a banana, maybe.
Oh, they're getting the invade. Let's go. Oh, that's a 3-level difference. I don't think this is the play. I mean, this is this is desperation plays, just going for whatever you can. But unfortunately, there's not much left for them to take. I think it's a bad sign when the casters, all we can come up with is, oh no, watching the play happen. It's just like, again.
You know, now that you pointed out, I think you're right. I have been saying that a whole bunch. Is it looks like we're already getting another gank there in the top lane. Mordekaiser trying to buy himself some time, but it's just a vain effort. We did, however, take down the Varus in bot lane, so that's something that's going to be some much-needed gold in the hands of Jinx. But can we do anything with it?
They get the Drake. They're going to lose first turret, but they get the Dragon, so that's something. Small, even with them taking down verticality, he still bought a Zeal on base. Your Jinx doesn't even have the wild arrows finished yet, and are they gonna finish the dragon? They're really slow on it. Venom was getting zoned pretty hard, honestly, by Sly, so they did have a bit of time to themselves. As nice lantern to get Popang away from the scary Troll King, who will bite you in the face and beat you over the head.
Speaking of it, it looks like Troll King coming in, trying to lock down Popang. He's still waiting on the pillar, and he's absolutely destroyed. There's just no getting out of that. Popang really struggling in game number 2.
I told you exactly what his game plan was. He's level... Oh, we can't tell. He's dead, unfortunately. I think he's level 7 right now. But I told Popang exactly what he was going to do. I said he's going to bite your face off, and then he's going to beat you over the head. And he did exactly that. I don't know why he didn't take my advice of not having him do that to you.
Best strategy is just don't die, right? Just play better.
Yeah. I told him dying is bad.
Oh no, what are you doing? This is not your jungle. This is the other side's jungle. Gotta get locked down and take it down as Venom picks up another kill. Not that he really needs it. Mason absolutely getting chunked by verticality. The escape is cut off, but we might turn this into a kill. Look at that HP once again. Someone just barely escaping with no HP whatsoever fails, buying more time as it looks like Popang goes back in, but is getting very acquainted with this gray screen. 0-7. I think at this point they've been dead more than they have been alive.
They call me 007. 0 kills, 0 assists, 7 deaths. It has been a brutal game. I don't know what changed between the first game and this game, but the Shorkies are big mad. I think they're angry, just a little bit upset with how their game 1 early game went. Maybe.
Either that or Glacial's over caffeinated, right? And they went from, you know, like, just getting a little bit of energy to like absolute jitters, can't sit still. And maybe that's what we're seeing.
I don't know. Is Death Realm?
I don't think we win this.
Is engaged. He can win the one,
and there's no response for his team.
Unfortunately,
Light is taking a good chunk of damage. Redemption coming
not a
in.
1-for-1.
Okay.
It's not. Oh,
yeah,
it failed here. Just to remind him that he is everywhere.
3-level difference.
Oh my god, here's the
Leah going in, locking down Pope.
Nice lantern.
But the lantern is going to be good.
Wait, they get the kill?
Aurora going in as well as the hook.
Nope.
We actually have an angle as Fortnite takes quite the pounding. Multiple ultimates getting used there.
Super Mega Death Rocket!
Forward as a Super Mega Death Rocket comes in, but unfortunately, it's only going to tickle.
The Ceres blocked the entire damage, like exactly the amount. I've never seen that before. Oh no, failed. No.
It's going in, but has plenty of time in order to tank that, as it looks like the mid laner actually has to protect the support this time from absolutely getting devastated. Aurora is probably doing the best on her team, despite the fact she's 0-2, but that's a bit better than the other side. Hoping, looking for some sort of gank here on verticality, and we do actually pick up a kill for them as Venom comes in once again. Every time Poping goes somewhere, Venom is right there, chopping at the bits, looking for him over and over and over, and I think now this T2 is going to fall to pieces, and I don't see a way for Glacial to turn this around.
Unfortunately, yeah, we have a saying from way back in the day that has persisted to this day. If you're down 10k by 20 minutes, it's probably just GG. Unfortunately, like as many comeback mechanics as this is a nice little catch on verticality, but it is little more than set dressing for Venom's next victim. Unfortunately, as it seems. But it is, yeah. No matter how many comeback mechanics they throw into the game, unless the opposing team is absolutely trying to run it down, a 10k gold lead this early into the game is quite literally insurmountable. There's just not enough gold in the game without the opposing team just feeding you like 15 kills.
Well, so I've had the pleasure of casting what is essentially a boot camp, which is Path to Pro, and seeing those styles. And typically, if they're this far behind, what they do is they wait for somebody to sort of overextend, and they just send everything at them. And they do that 3 or 4 times to get a couple of shutdowns, get a couple of golds, even giving up objectives for it, and that provides them angles to get out. You know, granted, you know, those players are a bit higher than just Masters, as Marshall trying to look for an angle here on Fortnite, but this is going to be a lot of control to deal with. Marshall just cannot catch rain. He's emoting and getting taken down. That's 0 and 5 on the Mordekaiser. I think the will to live has been sapped, at least from the top laner on Glacial.
I guess it's not will to live. It's more of they see the writing on the wall already as no. They've caught another one. Popeng is just not allowed to play the video game today.
Absolutely.
Maybe they found a good fight, actually. Hold on.
They're having a really good spacing here as Fails is taking quite the pounding. They're going to miss a good chunk as Fortnite actually is also in a bit of danger. Super Mega Death Rocket coming in, but it's just not going to be enough damage. Exhaust coming on top of Paper. It does finally end to do a little bit of damage for Fails, but Paper is completely out of mana as Lost comes around on the other side to try and lock down Mason. Almost gets it, but the Lantern comes in clutch. Poping left here holding the bag, going to get taken down as it looks like Sly is trying to keep his team in this game, grabbing hook after hook, but poor Poping sitting at 0 and 9, definitely struggling in game number 2.
How is it after all of that, Popeng is the only one that dies? Like, I swear, this guy... Ooh, nice hook, actually. They can't do anything. They have no damage. Verticality is such a force. It's like, all of this happens. Like, Mason's on 1 HP, Paper's exhausted in between, like, 2 or 3 people, and Popeng dies. I swear, is he cursed?
I think so. You know, maybe he's just super unlucky in game number 2, very struggling.
Maybe Venom
sure.
has it out for him.
True, but now look at the difference. There's a 9 to 12 difference in the levels. That's absolutely devastating, and it's not entirely Poping's fault. Everywhere he's gone, Venom's been there. The entire team's been there, and every play Poping's has tried to make, it just hasn't worked out for him because the team is always there to deal with it. Like this right here, Poping just trying to go for a little bit of farm, but we're gonna get a full rotation for verticality, picking up a kill, and now he's gonna be sitting at 0 and 10. Poor guy's really struggling.
Yeah, you said when teams get this far behind, they usually try to fish for an overextension or a pick potentially to try and turn that into an objective bounty or some turrets or another set of kills. That seems almost impossible. Every time final boss Shorkies are overextended, they just have this they just have the Avengers assemble. Look at this!
Oh,
the Avengers are assembling again.
Marshall coming in, Redemption going to try to help Lost Light in order to deal this fight. Marshall does do a decent amount of damage. It looks like we're going to get a Redemption for the other side as Paper comes in looking for the damage. This might be a good turnaround. Shut down on the Mordekaiser, trying to lock him down. Fortnite taking a whole bunch of damage, but also returning it on the other side. Lancer coming in for a little bit of shield as Paper is on the hunt, fails, overstaying their welcome, having a flash over the wall. Fortnite gets caught by a nice hook. I think this should be the death of Fortnite. No, just buying themselves a little bit more time. This Control Mage is doing exactly what it says on the 10, and I think we're going to overextend because Verticality is chomping at the bits. Look at all of those kills just waiting for him. Fails, trying to lock down Mason. Sly moving in to take up a whole bunch of the ultimate as Trundle comes in to put the final nail in the coffin. Poping, trying to buy some time for Mason to dish it out, but it's just not going to be enough. This is too much of a Fed Lucian as Paper going to get chased down on the other side, trying to get out with the plant, but only is going to pick up a bite and a death instead.
They spend so much time. Look at that. Between Worlds already spent on Fortnite. They keep chasing. There's the heal to give him a little bit of a speed boost to keep the kiting going. They turn out to fails after a while. They just kind of gave up. Nice hook. But perfect flash. Uh-oh. We've reached the limit of our clipping potential, unfortunately. Oh, Anacon was on. Oh, it just spawned. That is the tempo of this game, if you need to know. Anacon has been up for a whole 38 seconds, and it is about to be gone in about another 2. Oh my, no.
Absolutely devastating.
This is literally the one even matchup. This is the one even matchup, is this 1v1. Unfortunately, it's never a 1v1. It's never a 1v1.
It's never a 1v1, and I don't really blame him at this point. And look at the gold difference. Like, we're slowly creeping up on a 20k difference, and Poping once again, 4 levels behind, is just not allowed to jungle whatsoever. Come on, give the poor guy a break.
He got forced yes right there. He's being Flame Horizon, and dude, Venom, this is personal at this point. He has made it his mission to put
I don't know if he John Wicked his dog or what's going on.
I don't know.
There's a grudge. There's a vendetta or something going on.
Did he John Wick his dog? Did he steal his rabbit or something? Like, geez.
That's something. Coming in as Lost Light goes down to about half HP. These hooks have been really phenomenal as they turn into hook after hook, and then there's the flay. But Lost Light popping his ultimate, buying himself some time. It looks like Mason absolutely going to get taken down as fails, goes over the wall. Mordekaiser here to deal a good chunk of damage. The tower is on the opposite side. Mordekaiser does have what it takes. Does he have the damage? Venom able to get a lot of lifesteal. Can they return the favor to Leah? Fortnite on the other side. There it is. The Crescent Guard for Poping, trying to lock him down. Verticality is in danger behind enemy lines. Is going to get taken down. Another shutdown on the Auroras. Fails, has to run away, and finally we get some gold in the pockets of Glacial as they actually trade 3 for 3.
Oh, well, they can't. Yeah, they're not gonna get that guy. Fortnite is a little fed right now. But man, Pobank still can't get a kill, by the way. Even when he does like all he can to get a kill, Paper's right there next to him. I mean, good job on getting the kill. Venom is just in deep. I think Final Boss are feeling themselves a little bit in this game. Yeah, Verticality maybe feeling himself a little bit, given the flash into 3 right there and still getting away with 1. As what is going on the other side? Oh, they're killing people.
Another fight as Pope once again gets caught in the jungle. That's really got to be frustrating for sure. I can't even see what level he is, but I think he's like 4 levels behind at this point. It's the entire team is just laying on the pressure. Martial Arts does have a good angle to try to lock down Loss as the flash comes out, and we're trying to go for the chase, but it's just not going to be quick enough. That's Aatrox is just too powerful. But you know, if Glacial is going to win, it's going to be on the backs of this Mordekaiser. And this is kind of the thing that's scary about Mordekaiser, is despite the fact that, like, look how much we are down on gold. Look how bad Mordekaiser's, KS is, kill participation, and just sort of in general. I mean, I guess it's good for what they have on team, but they only have 6 kills, and somehow Mordekaiser is continuing to duke it out with Aatrox and 1v2ing and having a lot of like reasonable angles for him to just chunk people.
Oh my goodness, that is so much damage.
Flash over the wall.
Not to be able to get it.
Does get knocked back immediately into the team, giving the number advantage to Final Boss, and now the T3 is in danger. However, the Final Boss for the other side, Martial Arts, is here to try to stop the engagement and delay and buy themselves a little more time, because they need to get about 20 more seconds on the clock to get Poping back.
You know, this is probably what they named the item after. Unending Despair? Yeah, I'm feeling it right now. Like, this is... This is just cruel and unusual punishment at this point as the Weaver's Wall comes in, denies the disengage just because
another
they
good
found
hook on the
Fortnite.
other
Hold on.
side, pulling in Fortnite, almost taking it down. Super Mega Death Rock unfortunately does miss as Leona goes in on the other side. Paper trying to do a little bit of juking, but it's just not going to be that wallet difference. There's so much work. Redemption coming down, not catching Marshall unfortunately, but he is dishing out an insane amount of damage, but it's just not going to be enough. The wallet diff is too powerful as Mason steps one toe out of line and gets absolutely decimated, leaving Poping by himself to his own devices.
And he's not even going to get a kill. Like, this guy, they couldn't even gift this guy a kill after what they put him through. He's 120 CS down. And they couldn't even give him a kill. He's going to go in. He's not going to find fails. He's going to get blown up. Verticality 16, 3 and 4. And he stunts on it 40-7 as final boss Shorkies are stunting on Glacial to close it out as make it 17. Guys, just end it. Guys, it's 41-7. Just end it, please. Oh. Yeah, you ought to look at this team fight. Holy crap.
Replay on the last little fight over here. Paper did have a good angle, but just didn't have the HP, and the redemption just wasn't quick enough. And, you know, at this point, we're sort of nitpicking because, you know, the score at the start of that fight was like 7 to like 35.
What are you going to do in this situation? Like, it's so...
Die.
Yeah, no, it's like... Yeah, Paper had a good angle, but didn't have the HP. Yeah, no, duh. The other team was all on 3 items by that point. It's a bit unfair to say he didn't have the damage or the HP to win that fight, eh?
Hey, man, I was trying to find some sort of silver angle. I was trying to find some sort of justification because, you know, I've done a lot of cast, but I think that's been one of the more, unfortunately for Glacial, stompier cast. That it's going to be 0-2 in the favor of final boss. It happens sometimes. But keep in mind, this is only going to be week number 2. This should be a league and not a tournament. So this isn't the group phase or anything like that. So we're going to see more and more of these people. And the most important thing for a lot of these different leagues is for just to, you know, build some time to get some synergy, to get some going. Take this loss, as in Glacial, take this loss and then take a whole bunch of notes from it. You know, maybe hire a coach if you don't already have one, and then go over the videos. How could we have turned this around? Because it's an important skill to learn, to play behind. Like, playing behind and being consistent are so important the higher and higher you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is only, as you said, only week 2. I don't know exactly how long these players have been playing together, even if they've been playing together for a whole season. It takes time to get into the groove of things, especially because this is the second week. Patch just dropped last week, if I'm not mistaken, so still in a bit of an adjusting phase, even if it's not that big of a shift in the meta, of course. But you also look like you're facing one of the front runners in the entire tournament right now, as Final Boss are making their case for top dogs in the league. So 2 things.
Well, if they keep up that performance, yeah,
they keep that up. They're looking like they are going to absolutely run the table, and you're facing one of the potential front runners. It's week 2. There's plenty of time to improve. One loss, of course, both of these teams were 1-0 entering today, so you're only 1-1. The season's far from over. You got plenty of games left to not only build up that synergy, but to pick up wins and build that momentum as you go to the playoffs. And I can't imagine, like, the most important thing to take from this is I can't imagine you'll have any other games as bad as this. Like, literally, this is like the 0.0001%
it's only up
of
from
games. Yeah, like this is like the bottom percentage of games you'll ever play. Like, even in solo queue, you probably won't get stomped this hard ever again in your life, because it's just like so many circumstances need to go perfectly for the team to get away with this kind of game. So only up. Things will very likely improve unless absolute implosion happens. Improvement is inevitable.
Absolutely, and hopefully Glacial has been able to spend some time from now to the playoffs, maybe get sort of an 80s montage up, run up some stairs, become a better league player, whatever it takes in order to get there. But yeah, drink some eggs, raw eggs, of course, everybody's favorite. Either way, though, guys, this is all we have for you today. This is going to be a best of 3. Like we said, Final Boss taking it 0-2 in the favor of Final Boss. I've been your host for the evening, Korek. He has been Kimchi, and we have been on Blue Water Esports.